Lakeland Currents, your public affairs program for North Central Minnesota. Production funding for Lakeland Currents is made possible by Bemidji Regional Airport, serving the region with daily flights to Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. More information available at bemidjiairport.org. Closed captioning for Lakeland Currents is sponsored by Nisswa Tax Service, tax preparation for businesses and individuals. Online at nisswatax.com.
Hello again. I'm Jason Edens, your host of Lakeland Currents. Thanks for joining the conversation, and thanks for your ongoing support of Lakeland Public TV. We have animals in our lives that are near and dear to our hearts. Our furry companions, our cats and dogs enrich our family lives, but not all cats and dogs are fortunate enough to have a loving household to call home. There are a lot of strays in our region. In fact, at my own homestead, I must have a hidden beacon somewhere on my property because over the past 20 years, I've had at least 7 dogs and several cats show up. I found homes for most of them, or I've adopted them myself. I did so because until recently, there was no shelter here in Cass County. Today, however, I have a top-tier, state-of-the-art animal shelter, rescue, and resort. Hey everyone, thank you so much for making time. I really appreciate it. Why don't we start with a quick round of introductions? Just say your name and your title at Paws and Claws. Coretta, can we start with you?
Sure. I'm Caretaker Shakala, the Executive Director here at Paws and Claws.
I'm Caitlin Utrinka. I'm the Marketing Specialist.
I'm Misty Hootman, and I'm Director of Operations. And I'm Jessie Gurns, the Operations Assistant.
Well, welcome everyone. And once again, thanks for your time. I'm really excited about today's conversation. So first and foremost, I was wondering, Coretta, if you could tell us kind of the origin story of Paws and Claws. How and why did it get started?
Well, Paws and Claws was always a dream of Jack and Betty Thomas, our founders. Something that they've always been lifelong animal lovers and grew up with animals and saw that there was a need in Cass County for animals in need. There was no shelter in Cass County back in 2010 when they really established Paws and Claws. And it was something that they had put a lot of time and research into the build of it, the need for it. It's just something that they wanted to do it in their own community that they lived in, providing not only for the Hackensack area, but for all of Cass County and beyond.
So tell me, who exactly was doing this kind of work before Paws and Claws?
There were no animal shelters, right, Caitlin?
No, we were going to be the first one here. And when they started in 2010 and got the ball rolling with it, there was no one around to do the work that we're doing now.
Well, I'm curious, what need is an animal shelter filling? In other words, why do we even need animal shelter? Why is it important in our society?
There's a lot of reasons that we need it. We have pets come in, whether they've been found as stray pets roaming out on the road or they show up at someone's house. We'll get pets in for people who are experiencing medical issues and they're not able to keep them themselves. So we're kind of fulfilling the need of pets that had a home for one reason or another, weren't able to stay there, pets that are just wandering and otherwise are going to be stuck outside in the cold or in other conditions that we don't want them to be out in. So we're fulfilling a lot of different needs that pets are experiencing in our area.
Well, as you said, there was no shelter prior to Paws and Claws. I'm curious, what would happen to some of the animals, prior to the formation of Paws and Claws? What would actually happen to some of the strays in our region?
Well, I think, people would maybe just abandon them. If they were moving, could no longer stay in the place that they were living, they left the pet behind for nobody to care for it. Sometimes they were maybe left out on a country road somewhere near a farm. We've heard since we opened different resorts would all of a sudden have in the summertime, pets dropped off, because maybe somebody staying there would take the pet. So just a variety of different reasons. Being now it's been 3 years since we've been open and you're, as far as wondering why there's such a need for it in Cass County, you spend a few days here and it's very evident why there is such a need for it. Every day here is different for us. We take in several different animals from different situations, whether like Caitlin was saying, people having to surrender a pet, strays coming in, working with our local authorities, in different situations, whether it's a hoarding case, anything like that. And just working with different shelters too and networking that way. So there definitely was a need for it. So
you said you've been open now for 3 or 4 years. I'm curious, can you tell us a little bit about what type of impact Paws and Claws has had since you first opened?
We have had over 900 adoptions since July of 2017 when we opened. So that's been a huge thing for us, just to see the impact and the need that there was in the community for a service like ours. We've been adopting out. We adopt to, of course, our direct community here. We've adopted pets out into the cities, into Wisconsin, down into Chicago and Nebraska. Like, our pets have ended up everywhere, and they travel, and people bring them down to Texas when they go there for the winter. So it's just amazing to see the vast reach that we've had just since we've opened, like in 3 years, and how much we've grown.
That's incredible. So that's almost one adoption every day that you're open.
Very nearly.
Yep.
So when as I mentioned in the intro, I've literally had a bunch of strays show up at our property, and I would call the sheriff because I really didn't know what other recourse I had. Have you worked at all with the sheriff's office in terms of, backfilling something, or, can you speak to that a little bit more?
Yeah, we don't necessarily have like a contract with any of the different municipalities, but we certainly work with them. They'll reach out to us. We've let them know, please, if there's ever a need, where pets may be abandoned in a vehicle, or something like that, or abandoned in a home, and, for them to give us a call, and we try and help out in those situations as much as we can, and make it work, until either that animal's able to return to its owner, or it's surrendered to us, or whatever the situation may be.
But Paws and Claws is not just a shelter, correct? It's Paws and Claws Rescue and Resort.
Correct.
So resort is a bit of a social enterprise for Paws and Claws, or can you tell us a little bit more about the services that the resort side of things provides?
Well, part of Jack and Betty's dream was, being we are a nonprofit, having that social enterprise piece of it helps to the revenue that we gain from our boarding and our grooming comes back to the shelter pets, which is really important for us to be able to sustain. We rely on our donors and all of that too, and that boarding piece is also an important part of us being able to provide for the shelter, the community pets that are in shelter.
And it's a great service for the community as well. There are people coming from out of town to stay at the resorts and the campgrounds in the area. They're able to know that their pets are somewhere close, and they can, even during the day, if they want to bring them out to the lake or do anything like that, and then bring them back at night, we're able to offer that for them. And then it's a great service for people as well from our area who are traveling out of town, whether it be for a doctor's appointment, or if they are going on vacation or to see family or something. They know their pet is going to be somewhere that they trust and that they're going to be well taken care of.
And I think it's been fun to see, and I think Caitlin would agree with me that, throughout the summer months, those relationships, those people that are vacationing in our area, they're bringing their pets with them up here, like Caitlin had said too, and just developing those relationships and getting to see them return every summer, whether it's for a week or it's a few weeks or periodically throughout the summer months. And that really supports us a lot too. And they're close to their pet while they're on vacation.
And it's fun to see pets who have been adopted from us come back for boarding, and especially like when they go as puppies and they come back as adults, just to see how they grow up and how their personalities have developed and all of that. It's very exciting for us. That's
fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing that. I'm curious, can people just walk in? If someone wants to take advantage of the resort service, do they have to schedule an appointment? I want to inform our viewers here, if they're interested in using your service, can they simply walk in?
It's on a case-by-case basis. In the summer, probably not. We tend to be a lot busier in the summer and over the holiday seasons. So we do recommend in any situation to give us a call ahead of time, as far in advance as you know that you're going to need our services, just to give us a call, and we'll get an appointment set up and a reservation. And if you have a specific kennel size you want, we'll make sure that one of those is open for you. So,
and we do have certain requirements for boarding too, therefore doing it in advance. That way we can be sure that all the pets vaccines are current and up to date.
Sure.
Because everybody that comes into board has to be current on those things. So. Sure.
Okay. So it makes more sense then for people to contact you in advance if they want to take advantage of your resort service.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Especially now during COVID, we're doing everything curbside still.
Mm-hmm.
So making that call ahead of time, we can email certain documents that are needed to be filled out ahead of time, especially if they're a first time client. And then also having their vet email the vaccines to us. It only saves them time when they come to check in, being everything is curbside now.
Okay. Coretta, you mentioned that you're a nonprofit, and you also mentioned that you depend a little bit on donors. Can people support your work through your website?
Absolutely. Yep. We've got, if you go on our website, at the top of every page, there's going to be that donate button, so they can go through there. Also, as you can see behind us, we've got all of our merchandise. And even though we're curbside, you are still able to go online, order the merchandise. We can ship it right to you. You can come pick it up at the door. There is a pickup at Paws and Claws option, which people have been taking advantage of. So that's fun to see. And again, just like with our boarding, all of the revenue gained from our merchandise goes right back to supporting our shelter pets, which is super awesome for that as well.
Okay. As does the revenue that you earn from the resort side of things.
Yep.
And the grooming.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds like some real fiscal responsibility. I'm curious to follow a line of questioning about hoarders. And I'm just curious if in your work you have encountered any hoarders. And I don't know if this is a question for you, Caitlin, or Coretta, or some of your colleagues, but I'm really interested to learn a little bit more about that. Are there hoarders in our region, animal hoarders?
Yes, there are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And in fact, we just worked with a case last week where we had some kittens brought into us from a hoarding situation. You know, we work closely with, you know, like we had talked about earlier about with maybe Cass County or the humane agents from the Golden Valley Humane Society. And there is a humane agent that covers the Northern Territory, which we are a part of. And she reached out to us and said, hey, here's the situation. And I think there's more of it than we realize. And with different hoarding situations, sometimes people's intentions may be good. It's just gotten out of control. And so when we can help out in those situations, we certainly do what we can to make that happen.
You know, I think a lot of our viewers that are interested in your work would also, of course, be interested in animal welfare. So I'm curious, if someone suspects that animal cruelty is taking place somewhere, is there anything that we can do as individuals?
Absolutely. First of all, call your local authorities and report that. Document anything that you are seeing, and also reaching out to the humane agents at Golden Valley Humane Society. They're just a wonderful resource. And like I said, we've reached out to them. We rely on them, and they're wonderful to work with. And they're going to do what's in the best interest of those animals as well.
I'm not sure who to direct this next question at, but obviously one of the reasons that we have a lot of strays in our region is people don't spay and neuter their pets, correct?
Right. And we can grab Misty and Jesse, and they'd be happy to talk about all that medical stuff with you a little bit more too here.
So I was just asking Coretta and Caitlin a little bit about spaying and neutering our pets. Obviously, one of the reasons that we have strays in our region and elsewhere in the country is that folks aren't taking the time to spay and neuter. So is that a service that Paws and Claws provides on site?
Yes, yep, we do that. Not for the general public, but for the shelter pets that come in, the strays and the surrenders that aren't spayed or neutered yet.
Okay, so you don't do it for the general public. So in other words, if I have a pet that I didn't necessarily adopt through Paws and Claws, I can't bring my pet to Paws and Claws for that. It's only for the pets that are adopted through your service.
Yes.
Okay.
We don't, all of our animals before they're adopted are spayed and neutered before they leave here.
Sure. Okay. Well, obviously life is dramatically different this year than it was a year ago. And I'm curious how your work at Paws and Claws has changed on account of COVID.
Mostly just doing things curbside. We try to do everything that we can ahead of time over the phone or email, setting up adoptions. Otherwise, our work here in home hasn't changed a whole lot. But just meeting animals it looks differently now. A lot of people are adopting animals that they've never even met the animal before. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, are you seeing more adoptions on account of COVID? You just said a lot of people are adopting animals. Are you seeing a correlation between COVID and adoption rates, or are you seeing more pets that are potentially neglected or abandoned because of COVID?
I would say that, when COVID first happened, when the shutdown first happened, we had a lot of people, our foster program really opened up and grew. And so we had a lot of pets that went out on foster. We had a lot of pets that were adopted as well. I think we adopted out how many, like 40 in that first,
Yeah.
in 2 weeks, the 1st 2 weeks of COVID, we had 40 adoptions. So, and that's a record for us to have that many in 2 weeks. You know, we've had a lot of strays, but I don't know necessarily if it's because COVID. I don't really know for sure.
A lot of people we did hear saying, well, I have all this time now. So
Mm-hmm.
now is a good time to adopt, or now is a good time to be able to train a puppy. So
Yeah.
we did hear that. There was concern that animals might end up coming back after. We haven't seen any of that yet.
No.
So
That's great.
yeah.
Well, good. So I'm also, I'm really interested in how you verify that someone is a potential good pet owner, right? So because you have this adoption service, how do you vet the people that are interested in adopting? How do you ensure that someone will be a good caretaker for a cat or dog?
Well, we have an adoption questionnaire that we have them fill out,
Okay.
ask various questions. We also ask for 3 personal references as well as a veterinary reference if they have a veterinarian. So we do check all of those, and usually we kind of go based on, if we have if the pet seems like a good fit for the person as well. So it's not
Okay.
only, just paperwork, it's just seeing how the relationship is with the pet and the possible owner.
Do you have any mechanism where you can claw back a pet should the, pun intended, should the owner be not taking good care of the pet? I mean, is there any follow-up after? So you have a questionnaire. That's
Yep.
kind of the gate initially. Do you have any way to bring a pet back should you need to?
We do call and check and see how things are going. And we've never really had anybody bring a pet back because we thought they should,
Well,
or
good.
that we've heard anything that they need to. But we have had some returns, just it's not always a good fit, unfortunately, but we always want them to come back here instead of being taken to another shelter or given away or, anything else.
So
Yep.
We
People-
do offer that a 30-day money back refund if it
Okay.
isn't. After the 30 days is over, then it's technically they have to surrender the animal back to us.
Okay, so there is a returns process. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what is the fee for adopting an animal if someone were interested?
Well, if it's cats and dogs are different prices. The cats, if they're under a year old, so a kitten adoption is $80 plus tax. If it's an adult cat, anything over a year, it's $60 plus tax. And then for dogs, if they're under a year for a puppy, $250 plus tax. And then anything over a year is $225 plus tax.
And then we do have special circumstances
Yep.
where an animal might be elderly or blind or special needs. And then we try to, depending upon the animal and their need, we vary it.
And that
Oh,
fee structure,
People should always call if they have a question.
okay, sounds good. So people can always call you for specifics, but so with that fee structure though, that does include the creature being spayed or neutered, correct?
Yep, they are spayed or neutered. They're all microchipped. They are up to date on vaccine or current on vaccines. They are dewormed, heartworm tested, or FELV, FIV tested. What else? Heartworm prevention, flea and tick prevention. Yeah.
Mhm. So with COVID, you're saying that everything is curbside right now.
Yes.
So because of that, people in the past could have actually gone into Paws and Claws and visited with the creatures. But
Yes.
since you're not able to do that now with the cats and dogs, we thought this might be a fun opportunity for you to introduce some of your potential adoptees. So I was wondering if you could take the time to introduce to our viewers some of the cats and dogs that are actually up for adoption right now. Is that something you can do?
We have one right here. This is Tasha. She is a kitty. She is special needs. She's blind. We don't know exactly what happened, why she's blind. But she's very sweet. She just wants to snuggle and be a lap kitty,
But not today.
but apparently not today. Of course, right? But she's very, very sweet. She's she's super soft.
We don't think that she's totally blind because she seems to be able to get around her surroundings very well.
Yeah.
Maybe she sees shadows, but unfortunately she doesn't tell us.
Well, Tasha looks to be a little camera shy, but you said Tasha's a special needs cat. And
Yeah.
you said there's a special fee structure for special needs cats and dogs?
Yeah, it's nothing written in stone, I guess you could say, but it varies upon the pet and what the special need is.
So I'm assuming that's a discount.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that was Tasha. Can you introduce us to another, or potentially a dog? Or we've still got several minutes here, so we'd love to meet some. Oh my gosh.
We have these two lovely girls. They're both 8 years old. This is Lily, the little lab. And then this is Daisy May, the Saint Bernard.
Daisy May and Lily.
Yeah, they're both very sweet too. Their owner passed away, and so they were brought to us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now, is this a package deal then, because they were brought to the shelter together?
Yep. Since they're the age that they are, since they're both 8 years old, they've been together their whole lives. So we are asking that they go together. And they actually have a hold on them right now. Someone placed a hold on both of them.
Oh, that's fantastic. So they may have a home here shortly.
Yeah, yep.
But they're great examples of the type of dogs that you're putting up for adoption.
Yes, they're just wonderful.
Daisy May, I have to ask, how much does Daisy May weigh?
Oh.
She's almost 140 pounds.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Daisy May.
Yeah, she is a big girl. Yeah.
Well, we have time for more. Can you introduce us to another cat, possibly?
Yeah. Jin. Yeah. All right. Okay. Jessie's gonna go get Jin. Is her name. And she had babies here, right? Yeah, she had a litter of kittens here. And now she's kind of, she thinks she's the boss and that she is the queen in the cat colony area.
The queen of the cat colony.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to let her have her own little room just to, make sure the other kitties are safe. Because she's the boss.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna meet Jin, and then are we also gonna meet one more dog?
Yep. We'll bring up, they're bringing one up. I don't know who, but they'll bring someone up.
Okay. Sounds good.
This is Jen.
Well, Jin is a beautiful cat.
Yeah, she has really pretty eyes. She had babies here. I was telling him that she's the queen in there.
Yes, that's for sure.
She's the boss, so we have to kind of make sure everyone's safe. She would be best to be the only cat in the household.
If you adopt Jin, do you also adopt the litter?
They're gone.
They're already adopted.
Okay.
Yeah, the babies always go first.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, Jin is absolutely a gorgeous cat. I understand we have one more dog that's also currently up for adoption that doesn't have a hold on him or her. Is that right?
On his way. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. She is on her way.
So people can put a hold. Tell me about the process of putting a hold on an adoptee. How does that work? If I call and I'm interested in one of the dogs or cats, I can simply say, I'm committed to adopting this pet, and you will continue to hold it.
Yep. So we would have you place a $25 hold,
Okay.
and that goes towards the adoption fee when the adoption is finalized.
Okay.
The
It's
hold
kind of an earnest payment then.
Yes.
Okay.
So the hold lasts for 48 hours after the pet is ready to be adopted. So if somebody were to put a hold on a cat that still needs to be spayed in 2 weeks, we would have them put the hold, and then after that 2 weeks, they have 48 hours to decide that they for sure want to adopt or not.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, who are we about to meet here now?
This is Maddie.
Can you sit?
Maddie.
Yep, she's a 5-year-old German Shepherd, and she is special needs as well. She's blind. She came to us from a household that there was another dog, and they kind of got into a little tiff, I guess you could say. Just some tension in the house, and with her being blind and the other dog kind of walking up behind her, and her just being startled, they just didn't feel it was safe for her to be there. So
she's very, very sweet. She's amazing at getting around and figuring out her surroundings. She figures out a routine very, very quickly. And like, we'll walk her and she'll know exactly how far to the door and then to wait for the door to open.
Sure.
And as we take her on her walks, like, she's already got it all figured out, and she sits and she comes, and you tell her to watch and she'll slow down and see what's in front of her before she continues walking.
Okay. And I'm sorry, can you tell me her name again, please? Maddie.
Maddie.
So we have Tasha and Jen, 2 cats, neither of which have a hold on them. Daisy, May, and Lily, is that correct?
Yep.
May have found a home. And Maggie or Maddie?
Maddie, Mattie.
Okay, and Maddie, who's in front of us right now, is currently up for adoption as well.
She's talking.
Well, that is fantastic. I want to encourage all of our viewers to consider making a trip to Paws and Claws Rescue and Resort in order to add one of these fantastic creatures to their own families. And I also want to thank all of you for your time and your work. Paws and Claws, a place to stay or be found. I'm really happy that you have provided this service to our community. I personally have struggled to find homes for a lot of the strays that have come to our homestead, and I know that's a story that so many people have experienced in our county. So I really appreciate the work that you do. And I just want to ask you in closing, what type of, do you see Paws and Claws affecting our region for the next 5 to 10 years? What's kind of your vision for the future in terms of animal welfare?
Well, I think, you know, continuing to provide shelter for them, educating the youth in the communities about proper animal care, the importance of spaying and neutering. You know, and Jack and Betty, like I had said, put a lot of thought into the build and making sure that we're going to be here for a long time. They built the facility all hospital grade and built for the future, really. So.
Well, once again, thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you for making the time today. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
One more moment. So I just want to thank all of you, of course, for joining us yet again. I want to close with a quote from Gandhi, who said that you can judge a nation and its greatness and its moral progress by how it treats its animals. So thank you for the work that you do, and thank you all for being a part of today's conversation. I'm Jason Edens, your host of Lakeland Currents. Be kind and be well. We'll see you next week.